we want to watch them. You know, you've got the international players. People benefit from the trade. The small caps are mostly domestic, so they're not really in that game. You benefited a little bit from the market internals. We had about $800 million to buy on balance for the close. That's what put you at another closing record. And so the market internals were good. I think volume is going to keep going down. Markets are going to get thinner as we get into next week.
John, how do you interpret the recent price action and this seventh now record close of 2019?
It's the narrative. I mean, people are buying into the story. They're buying into the trade. And my concern now is if we don't deliver some tariff news, pretty soon the rest of the world is having problems digesting all of this, and the rest of the world could end up infecting us. Europe's clearly slowing down, the rest of the world is. And on the Russell that Art was talking about, you have to remember the Russell just rebalanced Friday. You know, 400 or 500 moving up and down, so what's happening in the Russell may not exactly be responding correctly for the first few days until we can get all that rebalancing done, and then it may start looking more like the market.
To your point on trade that we need to get tariff news, is not getting tariff news not sufficient to allow markets to...
I think we get tariff weary. We're tired, and it really is causing problems in the global supply chains, the global markets. The rest of the world is clearly slowing down. Freight indexes are going down. Trucking shipments are way down, but trucks themselves are off 60-70% in sales. So there's enough to make you worry, even though employment's at an all-time high. You know, the markets are at all-time highs. Life's good, and yet we're going to get a 25 basis point cut. Kind of a strange world.
Well, speaking of trade, White House trade advisor Peter Navarro did appear with us on Squawk on the Street earlier. We asked him about the latest round of the U.S.-China trade negotiations, whether this new trade truce will stick, whether investors should believe in it. Take a listen.
It's complicated, as the president said correctly. This will take time, and we want to get it right. So let's get it right. In the meantime, in terms of the markets, I think it's very bullish for the markets. And the two things that really have to happen in the short run to get us Dow 30,000 and above are going to be passing the U.S., Mexico, Canada agreement and having the Fed lower interest rates.
Rob Cox, what do you make of Mr. Navarro's characterization of the bullish markets and what we need to get to Dow 30,000?
Yeah, I don't think there's any. I don't think you can make the correlation that the trade war is going to be good for the markets. I mean, that's just economically nonsensical. But there is this point where, you know, it's kind of useful for the White House to have this kind of on and off again trade war with China. It's politically useful, obviously, at home. I don't think you heard anyone last week in the Democratic debates say we need to go softer on China, right? I mean, this is a, you know, hashtag winning argument for Donald Trump. It's also winning around the world. I mean, I spent a lot of time talking to people outside the states, and they kind of they're glad that the United States and Donald Trump is doing this. But you really have to be careful. You push too far, and we are, as you were just saying there, we are going to have a problem if we push too far and Europe goes into recession, Brazil, or any of these other countries, and then that brings us all down into some sort of crisis of confidence in the global economy. It's really how close can they kind of balance this on again and off again to get through to the November 2020 date.
To Navarro's point, do you think if USMCA gets passed, there's a further uplift in markets, or is that already something that's expected? It's China and Europe that's more important now.
Well, China and Europe are up on top right now. If you did get those things passed, it would be helpful. I think you'd have a couple of days rally built into that. But basically, Navarro said it's not just the Fed who needs to be patient. Investors need to be patient, too. He cautioned you that you're not going to get a quick and easy answer out of this.